didn't get the invitation. At first, I didn't think much of it. I told myself weddings are small, messy affairs. Maybe my presence wasn't necessary. But when my mother said, "Sorry, dear, this event is only for the closest people," the words landed heavier than I expected. There was an almost imperceptible pause afterward. Air itself had recoiled. I nodded, smiled faintly, and started planning a trip. Packing was slow, folded clothes with deliberate care, as though the act itself could rearrange my tangled thoughts. I kept picking up small things, scarf, a journal, a camera, and setting them down again. The exclusion stung, but I told myself I was leaving on my own terms. Solitude, I reasoned, might be less bitter than the awkward warmth of a family celebration that didn't include me. The trip began with silent mornings. Streets unfamiliar, air sharp with cold, and strangers passing without a hint of interest. Watched their faces, tried to anchor myself in observation rather than emotion. And yet, memories crept in uninvited. Dinners where my chair felt just slightly too far from the center of conversation, my opinions brushed aside, my successes noted in passing but never celebrated. The pattern was subtle, but persistent, like water eroding stone. Reminded myself that resentment wasn't a useful companion. Still, each memory whispered, sharp and precise, doors closed and invitations withheld. I forced myself to notice small joys instead, the sunlight glinting on the water, a cat curled on a window ledge, the taste of warm bread in a quiet cafe. I tried to be present, to let the moments exist without comparing them to past wounds. Then came the messages. At first, just small updates, the wedding postponed. Then more urgent canceled entirely because of unpaid debts. One by one, calls and texts arrived from my brother, mother, even distant cousins. Their words shifted from concern to pleading. They needed me now, not for celebration, but for rescue. Read the messages and sat with them. There was a moment, subtle but clear, when a family elder, my uncle, called directly, me to mediate, to step in and fix what had unraveled. For the first time, authority within the family addressed me as someone capable of action, someone whose choice could tilt the situation. A quiet thrill of control, but it was tempered by years of suppressed hurt. I didn't rush. I didn't act immediately. I let the calls go to voicemail, let the emails sit, open but unanswered. The power dynamic had shifted. They were desperate. I was not obligated. I didn't gloat. I simply let the moment exist as it was. There was no celebration, no vindication, just a subtle balance of control, one I had earned quietly. I spent evenings reflecting, often staring out of my hotel window at streets bustling with lives I could not know. Anger mingled with sadness, frustration with empathy. I realized forgiveness didn't need to be performed as a gift for anyone else. It could exist solely for me, as a means of releasing the small poison I had carried. Boundaries were not cruel, they were survival. Returning home didn't parade my absence or flaunt my autonomy. I arrived with calm patience, listening more than speaking, choosing carefully when to engage. My family's faces told stories of regret, relief, embarrassment, and hope all mixed together. Acknowledged them, but on my own terms, without urgency or theatrical gesture. The wedding was gone, the debt still a lingering shadow. The silent dignity I carried felt resolute, even unshakable. There were no dramatic reconciliations. No family member fell to their knees or cried openly at my mercy. What existed was quieter, more human, a slow recalibration of respect and acknowledgement. I could see them working through consequences, and I could see myself, separate yet present, free to inhabit my own narrative. At night, I wrote in my journal, the pen scratching against paper like a pulse, traced memories of exclusion, resentment, and small victories, the subtle reclaiming of self-respect, the decision to withhold action until it aligned with my own values. Understood finally that family bonds are not always restored through ceremony or presence. Sometimes are preserved in the steadiness of personal growth, in the ability to hold your ground without needing applause. And in that quiet, felt something new, a sense of completion that wasn't dependent on others. I had been overlooked. I had been asked for help too late. Yet I was intact. My dignity was mine alone. And for now, that was enough.